So apparently a bunch of English voice actors are ruining their careers. Very, very sad to see. I always like to, as somebody who wants to become a voice actor myself, this is definitely something, I'm like, oh man, that sucks to see. At the same time, though, as the competitive nature in me, I'm like, y'all looking for another voice actor? Like, what's up? Like, cause I'll voice act. Like, who's hiring? What's going on?
Hope you guys are having a great week, and thank you for tuning in. So a few weeks ago, you may have seen a video I made talking about
Shout out to anyone on YouTube who needs any voice actors as well. I don't just do the monkey voice. I can do a deeper voice too.
English voice actors, specifically SAG-AFTRA
I
union
should make like a
members,
demo
and how
or
we can
something to
see
put up on
across the
YouTube.
internet that public perception
I
has
had
been
an old one I
shifting
used to use for
against those
auditions.
union voice actors more and more. Many people criticizing the actions of SAG-AFTRA and their members. Interestingly enough, I actually had two different union voice actors come to the comment section of that video angry with the video. But to one VA's credit, she actually deleted her comment after only a few hours of posting it. Proudly realized it.
I have to be fair though, I have not been auditioning since before the SAG-AFTRA strike started happening. That's a whole other situation that I gotta get into if I even want to start getting into that field. But I'm really enjoying this YouTube thing, the streaming thing, and if I can like make this take off or like at least make this happen, I would be a lot happy. I'd be so much happier and a lot more confident in pushing for those kinds of roles. Because let's be honest, I feel like, and this has been a thing that I've had in the back of my head that I've always said for a long time, I feel like in the near future, the only way to get a role in voice acting is going to be a personality on YouTube or on platforms like this. And seemingly it might be happening because now we're starting to potentially be getting VTubers and stuff in gacha games. So who knows? Maybe it'll start to become true.
It was a bad move to make that comment, that the stuff she was trying to say about my video was incorrect, and that she was really only making the union VAs look worse. And so I won't be naming that voice actress, but there is another voice actress, the second one who came to my comment section, and her comment is still there. Let's take a look at this. Allegedly from this English voice actress, Cher Kirby, says, "This video is full of misinformation. If you're not a member of SAG-AFTRA, maybe don't make videos like this. Thanks." They got a response from only 17 hours ago, actually, that reads, "So you're not allowed to talk about an issue if you're not a member of the protection racket being called out? That's not how it works." Now, interestingly enough, there's a post on...
Yeah, again, you can't, like, anybody's allowed to talk about anything that they freaking want to talk about. So long as they're not promoting violence or terrorism or anything, like, illegal, then I don't see an issue.
On the Genshin Impact subreddit from...
Unless he's trying to, like, lie as some form of, like, authority. That's different, I guess, but,
only 7 hours ago, calling out the recent actions of Cher Kirby. We're not going to read that just yet, though, because I'd like to give you all the context, because this whole situation involves many more people than just Cher Kirby, as so many people on the internet right now are calling out union voice actors overall, including SAG-AFTRA itself. So I'll give you the context about what started all that over the last 24 hours or so. And it all begins here.
Interesting. I'm very... I haven't looked too much into this, which is why I want to start looking even deeper into this myself.
Here on March 26th. This post with now 2.9 million plus views over on Twitter from voice actor Jacob Takanashi makes this announcement about how he's joining Genshin Impact as a new voice actor, saying, "Role announcement. I'm honored to join the English cast of Genshin Impact as the voice of Kinnick. Taking up the mantle of Malipo is a privilege, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to carry the flame from the previous flame bearer, John, who did an incredible job. Those are big shoes to fill, and I promise to give it my all, out of respect for him, for Hoyoverse, and for you, the fans. Thank you to..."
I'm just letting all y'all know, if you hire me as a voice actor, not only will I voice act, I will live stream the game. I will freaking simp. I will simp for the game hard, bro. I'll sell. I don't care. I'll be like, boys, let's go. We're gonna freaking roll for my character. We're only gonna play as my character. Let's go, baby.
To Diana for their amazing direction and for helping me navigate the intricacies of this incredible game, and to Side Tokyo and Hoyoverse for the honor of bringing Kinnick to life. I'm deeply grateful for the privilege of entertaining you all. However, in the responses, we can see a number of voice actors getting very upset at Jacob Takanashi. Comments from Western voice actors, such as Kaylee Mills, saying, "This is actually kinda diabolical. If you need the money, at least take the role uncredited."
Nah, that's some BS. That's stupid. That's like that whole Hassan Piker thing where he drinks Coca-Cola off stream, but on stream he doesn't drink Coca-Cola because it's like boycotted. It's like, what's the point? You're still supporting them. It's like, nah, if you go and take the role, then stand on business. If you're not going to take, if you're gonna be against it, then stand on business and don't take it all together, you know?
This just comes off as an easy grab for clout. It's not a good look. Valeria Rodriguez leaving a number of thumbs down. Stephanie Sheh saying, there are many reasons why roles get recast. I personally draw the line when the original actor is holding out because they are fighting for better work conditions. I've refused many auditions to take over roles from my peers because I'd never do that to another fellow actor. And Karina Boetker saying this.
Oh no, I totally, sorry, still a bit sick. I totally respect that decision. Absolutely, you have every single right to boycott this game. Just stop playing the game. And you'll boycott the whole franchise, I guess, if you're really against this voice acting change. Yeah, I mean, hey, I mean, everyone has the right to.
This wasn't a passing of the torch.
Opinion,
Karina being the English voice of Paimon in Genshin Impact, and someone that we'll be coming back to later in this video, as Karina also made other statements relating to the situation.
In all honesty, even though I personally feel like I want to be the moral high ground and be like, I want to take the role from an actor like that. That's messed up. At the same time, you know, some people gotta get that bag. You know, they got mouths to feed. So I can't fault him at all for taking the role. You know, like I can't be mad at him.
That many people in the Genshin fandom
I can't be mad at him for getting a paycheck and putting bread on the table. You know,
exposing for immense hypocrisy. But yeah, these sort of comments from voice actors upset with Jacob go on and on. For example, here's another one. Ruben Lack saying, dude, really classless move considering an actor was fighting for AI protections on this job. I appreciate folks want the paycheck, but they should know crossing a picket line is an immediate and permanent black mark. Another voice actor, Luis Bermudez, saying, my hope is you were misled and weren't fully aware that John was withholding his work to fight for a better future for actors everywhere. If that's the case, you have the opportunity to do the funniest thing right now, but if not, and you continue in this role, yikes, man. It's also not just English VAs leaving negative comments to Jacob, but also various union supporters in general. For example, this response to Jacob's statement reading, let's call it what it is. You're an effing scab. However, there's also a lot of comments defending Jacob. For example, the comment there in the center reading, y'all harassing him should realize that he's working from Japan. The strike is only happening in America. He's not under the strike in any shape or form just because he does VA work in English. And other comments like, why pile on the guy? He's a VA based in Japan. They have different labor laws in there. And congrats on your new role. Warning you now that fandoms can be toxic, and apparently other VAs too. Don't give in. While I do think any Genshin fan—
Wait, so he can't even do anything about the strike? I guess. Like I said, hey! It's a toughie. It's a toughie for me. It's a tough one. I want to be supportive as a voice actor.
And would admit that the Genshin fandom can be toxic. It's really interesting because in this particular situation, it seems like the Genshin fandom at large is actually defending Jacob. And we'll get to that when we hop over to the Genshin subreddit in a moment. First, we'll get some more additional context. That takes us over to John Patnoid. Hopefully I said that right. This is the voice actor who got replaced by Jacob. John says,
okay, I wonder what he has to say about all this.
Hey everyone, if you've been playing the latest 5.5 update in Genshin Impact and you're hearing Kinnick speak—
Also, can I make this very clear? I have no idea what exactly SAG-AFTRA is asking for right now. Specifically, like I would love to like have a breakdown of that, you know, as well, but
for the first time in 6 months.
Most people aren't exactly explaining what they're after. They just sort of it's more so just sort of attack other people. I very rarely do I see them actually coming out and like explaining it in a really decent way.
It's not
besides
my voice.
Just generic like campaign phrases and generic we want more money, we want protections against AI, we want like what the like what exactly, you gotta explain like what exactly you want them to do. Like I can't.
I've been recast.
I don't know what the hell
I've been withholding
exactly.
voiceover services during the SAG-AFTRA interactive strike because Hoyo/Cognosphere would not offer AI protections in the form of a SAG interim agreement. Now let's pause there real quick because this is something a lot of people are taking issue with, specifically how it comes off like these union voice actors and executives are conveniently leaving things out and really only telling the public certain bits of information and simultaneously trying to have all the public support them as if they're entitled to the public supporting their cause no matter what, especially with how these negotiations may negatively impact non-union voice actors. And all this has been costing the union voice actors support. A lot of people are no longer willing to support the union VAs. And as has been a recurring theme throughout this video so far, that's something else we'll also be getting into more details about in a moment once we get through the rest of this context. So, back...
And fair is fair. Me, myself. Especially with the history of my family, they're all union peoples. They all work for unions. Like, absolutely, like, I am pro-union. So I just need to freaking understand what exactly this union is trying to get. What exactly is, like, you get what I'm saying? I need to understand this better.
The statement. John says, they'd kept my character's dialogue silent for months, all the while I had to make the difficult decision to continue not going in until an interim agreement was signed, and this ultimately was why I was recast. Now, obviously, a recast is not what I wanted. I'd hoped that any progress behind the scenes would be made, and I could come back safely, or that if recast auditions went out, my colleagues wouldn't read for them. Unfortunately, I was wrong. I absolutely adored playing Kinnick. Genshin was my comfort game during the early parts of the pandemic.
Okay, first of all, I'd hope that any progress behind the scenes would be made and I could come back safely. Brother, you're not at war. Calm down. Like, what the frick? What's this language? Like, it's so freaking, like, exaggerated and dramatic. Okay, if there was auditions, I was hoping nobody would take the job from me. Like, brother, you can't get mad when you refuse to work, and then somebody else comes along and takes the job. Like, that's one thing.
And it was a dream of mine to book a playable.
You gotta stand up business if you're gonna lose the job. Like, I'm just saying, like, I've been in that situation before, personally, where my boss was like, I'm not giving you this day off, or I'm not doing this, or I'm not doing that, and I was just like, alright, then I'm just not coming anymore. We'll find somebody else to do it. And that was it. I freaking left. No more. I don't care. I'll freaking find another better job. That was it. Stand up business. Period. Simple. Work with a different company. Like, what do you mean?
At the time, I didn't have an agent, didn't live in LA, or had any connections that would get me close. But 4 years later, I did it, and the messages I've received from you all, saying how much my performance as Kinnick meant to you, made my heart swell. I would and can return if Poyo invites me back and signs an interim. I stand by my choices regardless of the outcome. Also, the strike is still ongoing. Please don't believe this information on the internet. My best wishes to the cast and the production team. Thank you for everything, JP. Alright, with all that context, that takes us over to the Genshin Impact subreddit as previously mentioned. In this post reading, Kaching's VA, Kaching being a character from Genshin, used their character to attack Kinnick's new VA. Are we just going to accept this nonsense? Kinnick's new VA, Jacob Takanashi, is currently being bullied by some VAs, including those who voiced Genshin characters like Paimon's VA, Karina, and Kaching's VA, Kaylee Mills. In Jacob's announcement post, Kaylee Mills attacked Jacob for accepting the job. When someone disagreed with her, she said, I guarantee you Kaching would be doing the work to educate people and do what's best for the people. What do you think about this? I feel bad for Kinnick's new VA. He's just doing his job. He's not a US VA. Here's his post. As of recording, that post over on Reddit collecting over 4,200 upvotes and over 1,800.
And isn't that just the worst of it? Is that people use this to justify harassing this person. Like, they're looking for any excuse just to be assholes. The top comment on that post
saying, wish she talked this much when people called her out for supporting Mosey's old VA, who is a sexual abuser. She supported him? She supported him in 2020 when he posted his statement, then congratulated him when his role was announced. She doubled down here. Apparently another one of his supporters said,
yeah, but you see, that's someone on her team. That's someone she likes. So that's why it's not okay to to talk about that or harass them. But if it's somebody she doesn't like, or somebody that doesn't like agree with her point of view, then suddenly, you know, that's
Sam's VA from HSR, Honkai Star Rail, is also one of the current VAs targeting Jacob right now. Funny how that's a correlation they both have. It's seriously starting to look like a clique, or some sort of Nepo circle to be honest. That's a very reasonable assessment, and something a lot of anime and gaming fans came to realize especially around 2019, as the whole situation with Vic and Funimation et al. Put a giant spotlight on the corrupt and cliquey part of the industry. Another set of top comments reading, man, what the frick is going on with English VAs? Same as always. Not even Zenless Zone Zero and Honkai Star Rail VAs were very supportive of the new VAs that replaced former ones, who also were fired from the strike. Genshin VAs are incredibly petty and acting like a clique now, not a professional look. I learned my lesson after the Bayonetta fiasco. They're all a bunch of drama queens. What do you mean? Bayonetta's original VA lied about the studio trying to screw her pay for the third game and asked fans to boycott it. Until they being the studio, showed receipts and proved she was making it up. That situation was crazy. She literally...
I remember that actually. Damn.
Tried to get the internet to be her personal army, and then it came out that she was basically lying to people according to my recollection and was completely wrong.
Remember that.
That takes us to a number of top comments specifically calling out Paimon's voice actor as well, for hypocrisy, and as...
If I did react to it, no, I don't think I did react to it. It might have been Degenerate Weeb. That might have been, that was before me. That was before me!
Further evidence for how cliquey the English voice actors are, how they'll choose some people to go after, but give others a pass. For example, this comment reading, Paimon's VA is pissing me off the most. Technically I'm scabbing, but it's okay because I'm autistic and have to pay my bills. Like what? You don't know what the frick is going on in anybody's life but your own. He could be disabled, he being Jacob Takanashi. His mom could have cancer. He could be trying to feed his dang kids, or heaven forbid, he could have nothing going on and just wants a paycheck, and you know what? That's his business and no one else's. Let the man be proud to be a part of such a big, successful project and stop being such a hypocrite. A different top post on our Genshin Impact saying, Paimon, Kaching, and Cabaret's VAs responding to Jacob Takanashi, Kinnick's new VA. I kind of feel bad for Kinnick's new VA. And showing a number of tweets from the aforementioned voice actors saying negative things about Jacob Takanashi. Many of those we already went over earlier in the video, so let's skip to the comments. This one's saying, oh wow, even Hoothouse VA is going after the new guy. And showing this screenshot, we haven't seen this one yet. This VA Brianna responding to John, the prior VA for Kinnick's statement, which we read earlier, saying, thank you for standing strong and holding the line with us. You're a real one. Clears throat. Some of us, SMFH. But if we take a look at the comments in response to her, they're pretty much all against her. For example, going through this just from the top, at this point, companies should just give up on English voice actors whatsoever. It worked for Snowbreak, it can work for all of them. And side note, if you're not familiar with the Snowbreak thing, I did go over that briefly at the end of the video I mentioned at the start of this one regarding my last coverage of this English VA stuff, so consider checking that out for more info on that.
That does kind of suck that it's actually going to make it way more difficult for English voice actors here in the States to get any work for Japanese games.
Other comments like, y'all are pieces of garbage, man. Gotta love the hypocrisy and self-righteousness. Honestly, seeing some of the other VAs attack someone for taking a job, I hope you all get recast. Yeah, there's just dozens and dozens of comments roasting this VA, but I don't want to get too sidetracked from the Paimon stuff because there's actually still a lot more to go over regarding that part of the whole thing. For example, back over on Reddit, this comment with over 1,800 upvotes saying, how nice of Karina, Paimon's VA, to support VAs not getting paid while cashing a check every patch. Also, while having the most lines, means most likely getting paid the most. Like, aren't they the #1 person with the most influence and pull if they striked? Stroked? Struck. There are many other top comments over on Reddit calling out Karina, but let's hop back over to Twitter, because there are various comments.
Wait, so is she still working for them, even though she's striking? Autistic, voice actor, Genshin Impact, One Punch Man, Sailor Moon. Oh, okay.
It's on Twitter, calling Karina out directly.
Yeah, I'm slightly autistic too. I mean, autistic too, but I don't exactly go putting it on my freaking Twitter. I got a bunch of other stuff
which
too that
Karina
I've been diagnosed with. I'm not gonna freaking
In this exchange, we can see where Karina had said to Jacob Takanashi, this wasn't a passing of the torch.
How is that your identity, bro? It's like people like, yeah, man, I'm not gonna freaking say. I don't
and this
know.
user Luminescence saying, and you working on it is still good for the strike? Like, make it make sense. Karina then responded with this set of tweets saying, no, you're right, I am technically scabbing. I originally have this role, and technically I can still work this role. I am a disabled person, and this is the job that puts food on my table, as I actually record this role year-round. But I didn't take this role from another person who was striking. I had this role, and I am stuck in it because I have no other way to pay my medical bills. But yet...
Again, no, this doesn't work in any other job. What exactly about voice acting makes it so unique that you cannot take a different voice acting job for a company that does want to give you all of the things that SAG-AFTRA is asking for? This is such a dishonest, like, argument.
Yes, technically I am a scab, and you're right, I don't deserve any
So what the hell? Why are you talking about other people?
Praise right now. I don't deserve any of it. I deserve to be told off just like this actor, so please do. No one should look up to me. I'm trapped and a coward because I continue this job, because if not, I end up homeless. I don't say that because I deserve sympathy.
You can, like, again, you could continue to be a voice actress for someone else, a different company. Or you could also start bagging groceries. Like, there's nothing holding you to this one job if it's such a terrible working condition But like, how, like, none of this helps people, like, and bring people to your cause. I feel like in most causes that are just, in most causes where you know you have the moral, like, high ground, so to speak, I feel like you just sort of, like, explain the cause and explain the situation, and, like, you sort of, like, you argue the points and you stick to the points and you have, you know, these like, you know, but like, most of the time, they never actually discuss the actual issues. Which is why it's like, and the reason I say that is because, like, we went from, yes, I'm a scab, to, I'm trapped and a coward because I continue this job, because if not, I end up homeless. Like, how are you instantly becoming the victim here?
I don't. The ones sticking to the picket line deserve all the praise, not me. I love voicing Paimon. Love it. I've been through so much that you guys will never truly understand. But I also know what I am, and I should not be given any applause for this. If I could feasibly stick the line with my fellow actors, I would. This job actually barely keeps me alive. But that doesn't mean that it makes it different. It is not a good thing to my fellow actor.
Again, if it barely keeps you alive, you can get a different job with better pay and still go and picket fence on your days off.
That I continue to work on this game. I have struggled with that since the strike started, so call me out for this. Please, I deserve it, if it means we get closer to making things.
I mean, it's calling yourself out on like, on your hypocrisy doesn't exactly stop you from being a hypocrite, though.
Things better, then so be it. The top response to Karina saying, so what? Many disabled people work remotely in other professions. Voice acting is not your only option if it puts you in such an unethical position, but you have to seek attention.
That is very, very, very true. As somebody who works with very, 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 very many autistic, Down syndrome, special needs, and just generally, like, PTSD bound, prone, depression prone people, like, yeah, there's very, very, very many jobs that we can put you in, no problems whatsoever with any of that. Like, this is not voice acting. If anything, voice acting, yeah, I'm not even gonna see. I'm not gonna make too big of a point on that, but like, voice acting specifically does not have any more unique of a set of skills, I would say, that sort of uniquely makes it so that you can't have a different job besides that. Like, this is not a job, like, or rather, I should say, this is just a job. Like any other job, it is not uniquely like nobody uniquely deserves this one job more than any other job. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, if the job is terrible, nothing's keeping you there. You can quit, go find a better job with a different company. You have a good resume. Corina's a really big name. Like, you could obviously do this. Go work for a different company that has, you know, the standards that you would like to be set in the industry. The industry is never going to change if people like you are still doing this. But I feel like if you feel like the job is good enough to stay in there, then what exactly are you striking? I don't know, like, because apparently the job is too damn good for you to leave it, but also horrible? I don't get it.
On twitter.com like a 16-year-old and present yourself like a saint in the whole community. Karina responding, saying, I definitely don't present myself as a saint, but you don't know my disability and what I am able to do. Same way you don't know any other VA situations either. Imagine someone shamed you for just trying to make ends meet, which at this point may as well be warranted. There's also a difference between taking a role quietly and bragging about getting it when the other VA was recast for striking. He wasn't even aware of the situation. He lives in Japan. Y'all are so out of touch. So let me know what you think about the Korean.
I mean, that's another big thing, is that it's always about me and my situation, what I want to get out of this, and not about... They never think about the other people involved. You get what I'm saying? Like...
Stuff. Do you think Karina's response was good, that the points are fair? Or do you think it's an example of hypocrisy from these voice actors, or perhaps something else? Moving on to the next VA, that takes us back to Cher.
I had no idea that she was still voice acting as Karina then. If, like... It can't be that freaking bad if you still kept the job, then, can it? Like, if anything, it kind of... Like, any and all criticism against the job, or against Hoyoverse, or against the voice acting position, is effectively thrown out in my worldview because like you still keep the job. Like, y'all gotta understand something about this monkey right here. I asked for a day off because it was gonna be my little brother's baptism day, right? And my boss said I can't give you that Saturday off because I already gave you last Saturday off. And I said, well, it's I had last Saturday off because I needed to practice for the baptism that is coming up this Saturday. He's like, yeah, well, I can't do that. We haven't hired enough people. In fact, we had 4 employees at the time. He's like, we haven't hired enough people. We're not gonna be able to fill that in. And I'm like, well, you could come in. I mean, like, you have that day off. He's like, well, I don't come in on weekends. And I'm like, I will find somebody that does because I won't be here that Saturday. He's like, well, then it's like, if you don't come in, then like you can consider yourself not working here. And I'm like, good. If this is the kind of way, if you're not gonna give me days off for my little brother's baptism, this is not the place I want to work in anyway. So I'm like, consider it my last day then. Goodbye. That was it. I quit after that. I didn't show up to work anymore after that. I think I showed up that Friday, and then after that, just didn't show up anymore.
Kirby, in this post that says, share Kirby, Candace VA, opinion on Hoyo and
Chaos,
Genshin's
if you're here,
this once again being the VA
that.
who allegedly left a comment on my...
That being said, a couple months later, maybe that his bosses may have offered me the position of manager. A couple months later. I'm just saying.
Video, where Share Kirby is apparently over on Blue Sky saying, in response to
later, all of a sudden I get a call.
Post, this gotta be the most classless thing I've seen with
back.
everything going on. Have fun with Genshin.
I promise I'll give you a raise and make you manager. It was freaking...
You'll never work on anything else, LMFAO. It's also interesting how they're recording in Japan for English dub now. Wow, cool. Go to bed and recast me too while you're at it. Screw Hoyo, disrespectfully. Because let's be frank, who's gonna beat me over a video game that underpays its performers and is actively farming their voices so that they don't have to hire real people? I do hope it was worth it, truly I do.
By the way, I have to say this as well right off the bat. I don't like AI taking over real actual voice actors. Like, that's not okay. I think I do like the idea of having some form of protection. For example, I think it would be okay if a voice actor sort of lends the rights lends the rights to their voice, like an AI generated voice copy of them, to a business. And I think it would be like a good practice for businesses to try to ensure that there is an actual real life person, an actual voice actor that is getting, you know, some sort of like credit for this. Me personally, of course, it's gonna come all down to art. You know, it's like, when you see a picture, is it AI generated? Alright, well, it looks cool, but you know it's AI generated, whereas when you see a piece of art that somebody drew, you can look at that person and be like, oh, that's freaking dope, dude, like, you drew that? Like, yeah, dude, that's freaking awesome, dude, I'd have to use a freaking AI generator to make something that cool. You know what I'm saying? That's sort of where I go from. That's sort of my mentality on the whole thing. But I do agree that we definitely should have some kind of protections against AI. I just would like to understand it a little bit better, what exactly SAG-AFTRA what is trying to do with this. But again, a lot of these freaking people that are, like, picket fencing for it don't explain what exactly they're asking for in any kind of intelligent way.
You'll never catch me singing that company or any company that operates that way to a simple request of protecting the talents they hired. Singing praises for, sorry, not sorry, I rage quit. One more thing. I have never dealt with a fan base as callous and as annoying as the Genshin fan base, who would go so far as to berate the voice actors, who only want better protections and rates for being rightfully upset that someone publicly scabbed. And
again, it's like such a dishonest take on it, because it's like, no, people are specifically calling out the Korina voice actress on the fact that she is effectively fueling this harassment. I'm not gonna say harassment, but potentially yeah, you know, I guess here's your definition. This harassment campaign towards this Japanese VA, while she herself is still working with the company too. How is it that it's okay for you to work for the company and be supporting the company, and yet you think you are immune to criticism? But if they take a job, they have to be criticized? That's not fair. And even if I agree with you on AI protections and on some of these unions, that doesn't mean I'm not going to look at this hypocrisy and not call it out either. And I think that's entirely fair, and I think that anybody who wants SAG-AFTRA to succeed should be calling out bad faith actors or bad actors in general, and weeding out the bad eggs, basically, or weeding out the bad, like, the BS. It's like, no, don't act like you're part of us if you're still working for that company. No. You either, let me tell you this, if every single voice actor all unanimously at once left the company as a ginormous statement and put out the same exact statement all together at once, it would have been such a more powerful message, and I guarantee you people would have even, like, potentially even stopped putting money into Genshin long enough for the company Hoyoverse to actually care and do something. You get what I'm saying? Would have been so much better, but no, you guys can't even freaking stick together, can you?
Just insanity. The only other one I've dealt with like this is the Murder Drones fanbase, and only one of those doxed me.
What the hell? Oh, by the way, I love Murder Jones. It's so cool. But also, what the hell? Really? Wait, did she voice act in Murder Jones? I didn't even know about that.
I'm not in the business of arguing and fighting with children. I'm gonna
Why did Murder Bureau? Why were they mad at her with Murder Jones? What was okay? I don't even know that situation. That whole situation. What the frick was up with that?
delete some of that thread later, because this is a semi-professional page. But TLDR, don't talk to me about Genshin Impact ever again. KK. Top comments of that post reading: the United States isn't the only place where English is spoken well. Also, there are US citizens across the world right now working remotely. I'm confused.
I think more people in India speak English than actual Americans. Or I should say, not Americans, let's be more specific. Maybe not after Trump, right? But there's actually more people in India that spoke English than there was people in America that spoke English. Interesting, right? That was a documented.
Since when English becoming
of course,
exclusive
it also comes
to
down
US
to, like,
and US
you know,
only.
how many people
Apparently,
live in
Hoyo's
India,
characters are theirs and only theirs to voice. They just forgot to notify Hoyo about that. Another top comment in that exchange saying, "Well, that's one of the most unprofessional resignations I've ever seen. If I was a voice caster for any other field of work, I'd probs not hire her based on this alone. It's so unprofessional and going into unhinged territory. Honestly, I won't be surprised if Hoyo is now gathering all this to bring all of them to the negotiating table and have a word with what they just said regarding Jacob. Those may be personal accounts, but I imagine Hoyo doesn't want a bunch of VAs going around starting a civil war with other VAs, and make it look like Hoyo's VAs are some cult. There's a pretty well understood line where your personal account ends, and it's right around where you start bad-mouthing the company that pays your salary, lol. It's one thing if these VAs were trashing on each other, purely on principle, but they're literally name-dropping the game and the company, and that's a huge no-no in any job. It reflects poorly on the company. Hope she's prepared to explain these tweets to her future employers. This is just hot air. There's no way they actually put their money where their mouth is and resign. Doesn't matter, because that statement is basically all Hoyo needs to get her to never voice for them ever again. Whether she wants to backtrack or not, this can be considered a surefire resignation in Hoyo point of view, due to the atrocious mannerisms and statements made by her. Yep, she basically burned every single bridge of possibility that she'll ever get casted in a Hoyoverse game ever again. And I'm sure there'll be some game companies that see this as well, and would prefer not to take in a VA this volatile in their games. What a way to sabotage your VA career. Essentially,
to be fair, yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, even if you are on the morally high ground here, most companies just don't want to deal with that. Most companies just want to have a transactional, like, relationship where it's kind of like, hey, I'm going to pay you a check, you're going to voice the character, you're going to do the lines, and that's it. Hey, well, you know what, I don't, like, this doesn't need to become a freaking, like you get what I'm saying? Like, that's all they want. If you're gonna turn everything into a freaking political statement, or turn every single day of your life and every single, like, situation that happens with the game into a political movement, they're gonna get pretty tired of that pretty quickly. You get what I'm saying? And whether it's right or wrong doesn't matter, because they will get tired, and it will make it more difficult for you to get that job. Like, that's just a fact. You get what I'm saying? Like, whether we agree with her or don't agree with her, I'm not here to argue with that. I'm just letting you know that that's gonna be a freaking issue.
The entire post is criticizing her. Let me know what you think about that part.
I'm actually currently looking at classes to learn how to, like, appropriately handle myself inside of a voice acting booth, and how to take directions from the director specifically. That's the biggest thing that I feel like I need to work on, is specifically, like, the hands-on voice acting, because I'm pretty much completely self-taught as of now.
Part of the situation. And finally, we'll take a look at some public reception for the SAG-AFTRA agreement overall. On a post about the agreement terms, we see top comments like this: bruh. So
again, I've said this many times, shout out to anybody on YouTube that needs a voice actor. I am available. I'm not necessarily, if you can pay me, awesome, but if you can't pay me, that's totally fine too. I would love to do some abridged stuff, some content, just give me some credit. And we're totally cool. I would love to do stuff like that. Just be aware, I literally only have the weekends to record anything. So as long as you're willing to work with me, I can, I'll try my best to pull that off for you.
If Hoyo is forced to sign, all non-union VAs are effectively forced to join the union in a month or else, which would limit them to only American VAs, giving the union a monopoly over the English.
I do not mind, by the way, if you're a small animation channel either. Like, let me know. Like, send me the script over. Let me know. I would be so down. Like, just hit me up. Just for funsies, I don't even mind.
Voice acting in all the affected projects. I know it's Reddit, but countries other than America exist. Not necessarily only American VAs, but SAG actors, the majority of which are American. It's semantic, but non-Americans can join SAG if they work in the US. Many VAs don't want to join a mafia organization. The mafia is asking for membership protection fees plus continuous fees. It sucks every money from VA. Meanwhile, all the union VAs are crying about being misinfo when someone points this out. They're doing the "it's us or them," and they pick themselves. They're more than willing to screw.
I like, before we move on to this next one, I like the top comment there. Not only is it that they keep crying misinfo, but again, they cry misinfo and then don't explain or correct any of the information. Like, you're never going, like, you need to start explaining what the hell you're actually trying to freaking, like, push for here. Because I feel like nobody understands what the hell you're even asking for here besides AI protections, what does that mean?
Over non-union VAs, because why do they get to make money while I'm jobless? Even though studios like Studio Cadence, ZZZ, have non-AI clause and supports negotiations about AI with SAG, yet these VAs kept pushing AI as an issue to sign the agreement.
They have a non-AI clause and support negotiations about AI with SAG. Is this true? And if it is true, I want to, like, how much of it is? I need to start looking
to assume that the kind of people who go online and harass a colleague are actually smart people. I bet that 80% didn't even read or grasp what they are striking for, but just get the TLDR from their agent/agency. Interestingly enough, some union voice actors are attempting to say that they...
I know this is off topic too, but please let me know if you guys want to see me play Marvel Rivals. This game looks freaking good, dude. Freaking love Storm. He's freaking sexy. Oh my goodness, dude, I had such a crush on Storm. Oh, and then Black Panther! My boy, he freaking marries her in the comics! Oh, I'm so jelly!
The union actually does care about non-union actors.
And she gets to meet the Panther God. It's freaking sick.
In this tweet by Koi Dao, part of it reads, during the strike, the SAG negotiating committee has expressed they want to help non-union actors keep their jobs, and are willing to negotiate a waiver for the must-join rule for any project that needs it. But this person, Lynn, responds, saying, I don't know. I remember the video from the SAG guy who said non-union VAs are lesser than union VAs, which was deleted after the backlash. So I can't really believe they want to help the non-unions, lol. Once again, we have Karina Bodiger here saying, you mean the one...
I remember the video from the SAG guy who said non-union VAs are lesser than union VAs, which was deleted after the backlash. Yeah, it kind of goes to show where where sort of your morals are truly standing. It's not so much that you are in support of voice actors, it's that you want specifically voice actors that are in your team or paying into your union are held to a higher standard. And fair is fair. If you're a union, yeah, that's what you should be doing. That is your job. But I feel like if this is a moral high ground that we're trying to say about, you know, for voice actors across the board, then maybe don't like trash non-union voice actors. You know, it's one thing if you're fighting for the rights of all voice actors. It's another if you're specifically trying to fight for union voice actors and you're like, screw all the non-union ones. Like, I guess screw all of them. Like, what? So if I don't want to pay into your union, which again, even though I am pro-union, I don't believe that decision should be forced on anybody. If you don't want to be a part of the union, I don't believe you should be forced to do that. That's not okay. So, like, I don't agree with this sort of like, you have to pay into me, otherwise you're just not gonna have as many rights. Like, that's not okay. I don't like that. That's a very dangerous mindset.
One that wasn't even said during this strike. Keep up. This is a different strike now. Also, the entire union screamed at him for that. To give you additional context, I believe it was Karina Bodiger here saying, you mean the one that wasn't even said during this strike? Keep up. This is a different strike now. Also, the entire union screamed at him for that. To give you additional context, I believe it was Duncan Crabtree Ireland, the national executive director.
She really just said, yeah, he did that, but stop talking about that. That was the last strike. This is another strike. But that doesn't matter. It's still the same freaking people. What do you mean?
And chief negotiator for SAG-AFTRA, who made those disparaging remarks towards non-union actors, specifically saying that they're quote-unquote lesser quality. So while some union members gave him backlash on social media for those remarks, it doesn't seem like there's any serious action taken against him. It seems like he still has that top executive position.
His salary is $1 million in 2023. See, that's the kind of stuff that I start to wonder. It's like, wait, that's like some Jack Doherty stuff. Like, the voice actors are just the ladies, the OnlyFans models. And this dude is the pimp pimping them all out. You get what I'm saying?
And furthermore, it seems like his position at the union is getting him a salary of over $1 million.
I don't know. I always felt like if I'm a voice actor, I always assumed it was like, it would be between me and my agent would get like 10%, no? That's always what I assume.
$1 a year. Lastly, on SAG-AFTRA's own website, they have a section dedicated to talking about Financial Core. A brief summary of Financial Core reads, Financial Core refers to a legal carve-out that permits workers opposed to participating in a labor union to be employed under the benefits of a union's contracts without compelling them to be a member of that union. In which SAG-AFTRA says, Financial Core members are viewed as scabs or anti-union by SAG-AFTRA members, directors, and writers, most of whom also belong to entertainment unions. And as you surely know, scab is used as a derogatory term for people who are not a part of the union or who cross picket lines, etc., etc. The point is, while some union members attempt to say that SAG-AFTRA really does care about people who are not a part of the union, it seems like the union's own actions and terms, as well as this whole situation recently with
like, I get it. I totally understand, bro. Union, like, this has been something that's been in America. It is the heart and soul of American industry is unions, right? But when the employees come into work, or how about I say, when the scabs come into work, you open the crowd, you step aside, you let them get into their job. You can yell scab at them all you want, but you let them go back into work. You don't stand between a person and their paycheck. That's the #1 rule. That's one of the. How about this? This is one of the most important rules that OzDaMonke taught me when I first started working. It's like, listen, no matter what happens at work, no matter who, like, what you do or what they do or what the situation is or whether you see somebody doing something you're not sure about, you get the hell out of the situation, you do what you gotta do, but you never get in between a man and his paycheck. Alright, you, like, that's just, like, leave them alone. Let them do their thing. Get your paycheck, let them get their paycheck, never stand between a man and his paycheck. You get what I'm saying? It's not your business. Don't touch it. Leave that alone. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's this person, whoever the hell they are, they don't deserve to be harassed because they took a job. I can't agree with that. Even as much as I want to support unions here, I can't agree with that.
Number of union VAs and how they treat
especially not when you're still working for the freaking company.
Jacob has caused many people to be skeptical, to say the least. But anyways, let me know what you think about this stuff in the comments. Hope you enjoyed my coverage, and if you did, please consider liking and or subscribing. Appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one. I hope you guys are having a great week, and thank you for tuning in.
Phenomenal video. Thanks for hanging out. Like or dislike, comment, and subscribe, and become a Monodachi today! I live stream all day, Monday through Friday, so go say hi! That's all for now, Monos. Goodbye, and thanks for swinging by. Salut!